What do we have next here?
Well, we have Demon Hunter.
Are we touching the Demon Hunter? We have to touch the Demon Hunter.
Yeah, the Eldrachi Reaver. Demon Hunter. We're kind of segueing into the least popular and the least exciting hero.
Let me tell you something. I have nothing to say about this. Okay, I have nothing, nada. So carry on, please.
Thank you for telling me. All right, so Eldrachi Reaver got a lot of the tuning done to it as well, similar to what we've seen for Rider the Apocalypse. It's not as much as damage tuning, although that is also part with Reaver's Glaive, damage being increased by 200%. But also we have Wounded Quarry. Now, always procs bonus damage while Reaver's Mark is on your target. Soul Fragments generation is still a chance. Reaver's Mark duration is increased to 20 seconds. So once again, tuning to how the mechanic works and how it actually plays out in the combat. Art of the Glaive activation threshold doubled. Well, you know. And Intent Pursuit cooldown reduction increased to 4 seconds. Evasive action no longer extends Tactical Retreat Fury generation periodic, and evasive action no longer resets initiative. So overall, just a lot of mechanical tuning and extension of the windows.
Wait up, man. What about Reaver's Glaive damage increased by 200%? There, I said something. Now I matter.
I also started with that, by the way.
Shut up, man. I knew that.
It's all good. I personally feel like Demon Hunter is just a little bit on the boring side when it comes to hero talents. It's great that they're keeping it up to date and they're, you know, tuning it so that it's more impactful. And even though people are memeing it that it's not that great because where's the I-beam and all of that, to be fair, out of the two hero talents, Eldrachi Reaver still feels like the more interesting one because you're just throwing your glaive around and it does damage, and that's great.
You know what I just realized? I don't know how many Romanians homeboys we have out there, but Eldrachi would definitely be Eldracu. Eldracu Reaver. All right, moving on. Fuck it. One more thing I wanted to add here. The fact that they're tuning already in alpha feels very interesting. I don't think that we ever saw an instance that they took specs and, in this case, hero talents and whatever, and just started tuning the shit out of them. I don't know what they're basing their tuning on. Probably the dungeons we never get to do because there's not a lot of people on the alpha.
You know what this really looks like? This really looks like there's multiple teams and each team handle a specific class. I don't know. I would be surprised if there's like one team per class, but they're definitely progressing the class design philosophy all the way to from A to B. Because if you go back into Dragonflight and Shadowlands, they went through the talents first, the unpruning or whatever we had in Shadowlands, and then all of the tuning, right? Like it all happened in waves, but now it's like class-based, not waves-based anymore.
Yeah, and not all classes are no-based whatsoever. We're gonna get to that because some classes are getting a lot of love.
They're less based than DK for sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the Druid, quick and fast.
Claw.
Right. So we're going through these on a little bit of a speedier pace because, like, in order to like properly talk about everything that's happening here, we have to like test
There's
it out.
a point that we want to get to.
Yeah, for sure.
We do want to talk about Druid of the Claw because it is one of the hero talents that has been. It sounded really great, but it wasn't that great in practice, and the philosophy behind it, and we're going to talk about that as well, is definitely impacting the change that we're seeing right now. So first of all, Ravage and Dreadful Wound damage is increased by 10%.
Yay!
Dreadful Wound now reduces damage dealt to you by 4% for Feral and 10% for Guardian, and this ties into their essentially design philosophy for this, where they want the Guardian to take more defensives out of it and not make it super defensive for Feral. That's not the point. You're not a tank as a Feral. Feral's Aggravate Wounds now triggers from any ability that costs energy. Empowered Shapeshifting increases the damage of Mangle by 10%, previously was 5%, and the damage of Swipe and Shred by 3%, previously was 5%. So Feral was benefiting a little bit too much from Druid of the Claw as opposed to Bear. Strike for the Heart now increases ability critical strike chance and critical strike damage by 6%, was 8, so it was nerfed. Strike for the Heart now causes Mangle to heal Guardian Druid for 1% of their maximum health. And Feral's Wild Power Surge now increases the damage of your next swipe by 50%, nerfed from 100%, or the Mangle buffed to 200%, up from the previous 100%.
Hold up, I got the last ones. I can read them out for you.
Oh yeah.
Let me read them out for you, because I can read, Yeah. Guardian's Willpower Surge now increases the damage of your next Ferocious Mind or Rep by 100%. Was 50%. Mwah, exquisite. I used to main Feral Druid back in Shadowlands. It's an interesting.
You touched Guardian by accident as well.
But that was so fun, dude.
With
those legends. Yeah, okay. And Wild Shape Mastery's retention of Bear form. The pause is intentional.
Go, man.
There was a lot of pause. There was a lot of pause. Let me try that again. So
Take 2.
wild shape mastery, retention of bear form, stats.
That's how he got his wife.
In cat form also retains bear form's resistance to being critically struck or parry. Carry on, Flame.
That's really good. So essentially, they've retuned how the hero towns work towards both of these specs, because what was interesting is that initially when they released a lot of the hero towns, everybody was up in arms that this sounds like it's made for this spec and this other spec doesn't get anything from it. And they didn't really want to change the values based on each spec because they wanted to be more universal, more generic, but they're going back on it and I think that's the smart way, because not all of these specs take the same amount of value from it.
Yeah, man, that's right, man.
I said it so good, man,
right,
with the words and everything.
Man, this is great. But I think Feral here is getting like the super love that it needs. After all,
I mean, they've addressed the melee range, and we can see this in Primal Wrath range being increased to 10 yards up from the previous 8, and it added a connector between Primal Wrath and Bounty Strikes and Talon Tree, basically just making pathing better, because we can all appreciate a better pathing.
Oh yeah. Plus we know that like the first iteration that they did with the whole Feral rework was so bad. Oh my god. So seeing this finally happen, and I think a lot of feedback was given.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, that's basically what Rampant Ferocity is, because now damage has been increased by up to 50% when the player spends extra energy on Ferocious Bite, which I don't think it was an interaction that was present before. You'd probably just still do bites, and the single target bites that you would do would benefit from the extra energy that you spend, but it wasn't translated into Rampant Ferocity. You can see that they took it out because they thought that, it's not really great for them. And everybody was like, give me back my Rampant Ferocity, and they brought it back. Not only that, they also buffed it. And Thrashing Claws now requires players to know Thrash in order to apply the bleed from Thrash, because logic.
Because if you don't know, now you know. You have to know Thrash in order to do Thrash. You know what I'm saying? No, but it's. I think it's in again, like when we talked in the beginning at the all of the first phase of the podcast with all of the freeze cameras and stuff. Remember that we talked about the fact that they are listening to feedback. And a lot of these changes are based on the feedback they have gotten. So I think this is for the better. Obviously, there's still a lot of things to be addressed, I think, with most of the specs except Mage.